Thank you for being here, Lauren, all the way from Australia today. I know it's late for you, so we will get through the conversation and let you get to bed. It's like 11 o'clock there.
Yeah, I woke you up at about 5 a.m. your time, so we're about even now.
Well, I follow you on Instagram and you actually follow me and reached out and we did some coach work together through my business and your business, Canine Conversations. And so, of course, I follow you. And now I have a new pup in my life. My son and his fiance have a black lab named Madden, and I get the pleasure of puppy sitting my grand pup sometimes. And so, I want to learn from you today, and I want our audience to learn from you as well. And maybe my son and Becky will watch it and they'll learn a little bit too as they become parents of a very rambunctious, busy black lab. So let's get started. Let's talk about your experience and how you got into this work and just your credibility and your authority in this space is so huge. And I think that that's one of the things I right away want people to know, like, how do you go about looking for a dog trainer? What do you look for in a dog trainer? And what do you bring that's different from, say, the typical dog training that we've seen over the years?
Well, thank you for saying that, because that really does mean a lot. Because I think we all have a little bit of imposter syndrome, but it also is good to have a little bit because it keeps you learning.
Yes.
And the dogs like to serve me a little bit of humble pie from time to time, you know.
Of course.
So it's funny, really, because one of my first jobs I ever had when I was 8 years old in England was walking a border collie cross. Her name was Jodie, for about £2. I'd take her out with me all day. That's because I wasn't able to have my own dog. And then fast forward to moving to Australia, I actually dropped out of school when I was year 11. I don't know what that would be over there. I was 15, turning 16, to be a painter and decorator. So I was a tradie, and I started volunteering at the RSPCA, and I decided I had to be with the animals. So after volunteering, I started working at a boarding kennel, and I didn't like how the animals were so stressed. So then I started doing pet minding and looking after animals in their own home, adding other services along the way. Took dogs to weddings for photos. I had a hydro bath service. So what was that? So dog walking, pet minding, hydro bathing, weddings and training. And I always wanted to work with behavior because it interested me and also scared me a little bit, because I was like, why are some dogs why do they struggle with the world so much? And then about 10 years ago, started getting into more behavior work. And then when I was pregnant with my second, I thought it'd be a really good idea to start studying. So I studied to be a behavior consultant, and I'm a certified behavior consultant with the Institute of Modern Dog Trainers. And we are ethical, which means that we don't use any of the aversive techniques, which include, prong collars, e-collars, any kind of suppression. So although a lot of people might call themselves force-free, I don't truly believe that we can be force-free, because if I was to ask the dogs who I see, do you want to be here? I'm sure a lot of them would say no. So I try to make it as safe and predictable as possible. So when you are looking for a trainer, an ethical trainer, there are certain words to use to research that. So force-free is actually one of them. Ethical training, positive reinforcement, science-based, veterinary behavior. So a lot of those words will lead you to the organizations that have a code of ethics to be as kind as possible when we're working with these dogs.
And kindness too. I mean, I think that one of the things that I've noticed when I have Madden to myself is, like, it's a test of my patience. It's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with him. He is a puppy. He is a toddler at this point, I think,
Yes.
at 8 or
Yeah.
so
He'd be,
months.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, and a black lab, every time I say, oh, he's black lab, everyone says, oh, they're busy or they're this, or they like to chew on things. They like to have this and that. And I grew up with black labs, so it's not surprising to me. But at the same time, it's like, okay, so what do I do in this space to make sure that he's comfortable and
Yeah.
he knows me and loves me. I already know that. And I've made a real effort to bond with him and make sure that we have that relationship of trust. But also he drives me crazy
Oh
sometimes.
yeah. As when you
He just goes for everything. Like I can't keep track and keep up no matter what toys I have. It's like
yes.
the little kid who wants to play in the refrigerator box instead of,
Yeah.
the toys that you give them. It's just
Absolutely.
constant. It's constant.
So this is it's like, when it's like, again, having that little toddler that needs to go to sleep and they get overtired, overstimulated, they play rougher, they mouth harder, they become destructive. So a lot of this is, rather than tiring them out, is actually putting them to bloody bed.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, go
Yeah.
to sleep. So and as well, like that overstimulation can be destructive. And like with every individual being, some dogs, like children, will teeth differently, so the teething is harder. So you've got an adolescent dog now, so the development period is really challenging. So my dog Sophie, she's 6 now, and I'm still traumatized by her as a adolescent dog. And I knew what I was doing. So you got to give yourself a little bit of grace as well, because it is frustrating. But like you said, if you respond out of your own emotions, why do we expect the dogs to be in control of theirs? So it's take a step back, get some wine, take a deep breath. So making sure that the dogs have the outlets that they need. So, they might not go for the toys that you have for them because they prefer ripping things up. So it might be that cardboard boxes and egg cartons are more of their outlet that they like, their sensory outlet. Or it could be, an old tea towel that you tie a treat in a knot and they get to shred that. So they like that shredding. Being a gun dog anyway, we need to look at, is this a working line gun dog or is this a show line? So do they have more stamina and energy? Do they want to follow their nose? Do they want to my husband just came home. Do they want to do working things? So it's giving them that outlet, but also teaching them an off switch. So over a 24-hour period, like Madam should really be sleeping around 16 hours a day.
That was my question, because sometimes what happens, I have a great big kennel for him, great big, it's like a little apartment, and he likes it. He's kennel trained. He'll go in there on his own.
Is this inside or?
What's that? Oh,
is
it's
it,
inside.
is it
Yeah.
like a crate? Do you mean a crate?
Yeah,
like,
crate. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he goes in there on his own sometimes. And what I find is I don't ever want to put him in there because he's in trouble or something. And I know that kids don't do that either.
It's a punishment. Yeah.
But it does seem like that's about the time I'm like, okay, let's go in here and have a little rest and I'll be back in a little bit. And then he settles down and it's, so it's not like, so it automatic, it's what you just said makes sense, because it's about the time he's getting like, and I'm thinking, okay, what, let's just direct him in there and not make it punishment, but get him in there and settle him down. So you're saying he should be sleeping 16 hours a day? I mean,
over a 24-hour period. Yeah. Over a 24-hour period. So the dogs only sleep long periods of time because of us. They really kind of, a couple of hours sleep, a couple of hours awake, a couple of hours sleep, a couple of hours awake. And so if you look over a 7-day period, what he's doing, what the dogs are doing each day, if one day is really exciting and overwhelming, we call it trigger stacking. So an example for that might be, let's say we don't wake up on our alarm and then we spill coffee on our shirt and we get every red light on the way to work. We're going to respond very sensitively than what we would if we woke up with the birds chirping or early to work, right? So it doesn't always have to be negative either. It could be that he went to a dog training class and it was really overwhelming and exciting. That all needs to kind of decompress and go somewhere. So if you've got one day that's high arousal, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of running, lots of sensory, the next day they're going to be overtired, overstimulated. So it's not about just tiring them out. It's about having decompression time, days off, quiet time. And with the enrichment that you do as well, there's sort of like calming enrichment too, like licking and chewing. So when you pop him in the crate, I would always have a blanket over the top or a cover as well. Yeah, maybe some white noise, so it reduces any external like a baby. And then it's okay to sit with them and give them a slow stroke to help them soothe them to sleep. Some dogs mouth more and get more excited when you touch them. So again, it's individual. But, you know, as soon as they start to rest, you start to see better behaviors as well.
I feel
It's like,
pretty good
again,
about that because all three of those things you just said I've been
brilliant.
doing. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break and I have many more questions for you. So we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, we're back with you, Lauren. Canine Conversations, and we're talking. I'm using Madden, my kids' dog, as an example. And so, one of the things you were saying before is how much sleep they need, and I felt good about the way that I settle him down. And you know, my son and his fiance, they could tell you their examples, but I'm only talking about when I have him here. And one of the things that I feel like, this may sound silly, but I love that dog so much. I feel like he's such an extension of them. I can't even imagine when I have like human grandbabies because I just love this dog so much. And I want to do well for him, you know, and I want to treat him right. And I want to make sure, excuse me, that he's comfortable here and that I don't want to spoil him. I don't want it to be different from at home because he doesn't understand why he can get away with things here and not there, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I wanted to ask you about that, you talked about sleep and how much sleep they need, which was surprising to me because sometimes when he's sleeping, I feel guilty. Like I should be walking him. I should be playing with him. I should be whatever. When now I feel like, okay, well, that makes sense that he seems to be falling asleep in the corner over there. You know, when I least expect it. So when we talk about behavior though, too, I don't think for a second that I could save him from himself. Like there's the things that are optional that I want to make sure that I pay attention to when he's here. And there are things that I have to keep him safe. So I keep him on the harness leash and I make sure that, you know, the door's locked so people can't just come in and out because he'd probably beeline to go outside the door. I'm constantly trying to manage the rocks he's picking up and the sticks he finds and just trying to keep him safe all the time. In fact, I think my son was talking to his vet about what kind of insurance to get. And she's like, exploratory surgery. He's a lab. So because
okay. Is he swallowing?
Okay. So swallowing them, but I don't know if he's going to swallow them. And it's gotten better as he's gotten a little bit older. But so when we think about these things, like every dog has its challenges and every breed, I'd imagine it varies by breed too, because we know labs like to, you know, have things in their mouth and all that because they're bird dogs often. And so what is your recommendation? Like, I know there's so many questions I could ask you, but based on the things that keep them safe, like these are non-negotiables. How do we keep a dog safe from running to the street, how do we save them from themselves, really?
All right, definitely. So just going back on him holding things in his mouth and potentially swallowing them. So that is actually called pica. So holding something and exploring with their mouth is different to swallowing. So it's not a normal behavior to actually swallow non-food items. So that's where I would be looking at why. So
he hasn't that I know of. I just had that fear of it. So I was constantly trying to monitor it. Really, I should just let him be in the backyard. And if he gets a rock, he gets a rock, right?
Well, so like if he is picking things up and then spitting them out, then that's fine. You know, if he's chewing on bits of logs or sticks, that's fine as well, like pulling them apart, but he should be spitting them out. So when the dogs start to swallow these things, that's when I would look at is there a gut inflammation going on, or is it behavioral, or is it medical, and that's what's causing the behavior. But it's okay to explore through their mouth. I mean, my dog, like when I get the lawnmower out, I swear she gets in front of it and starts pulling the grass out. So hers is a sensory outlet, right? So she likes to just pull long grass out. But when it comes to being safe with open spaces, the observational training or just honestly just sitting and watching with your dog is so underrated. It's so powerful. If you were to sit out the front of your house with Madam on a lead and just watch the world go by on a blanket, that is teaching them that the world is out there and we can watch it. We don't have to be involved in it. And as things go by that might alarm us, support them through it. So it might be dogs are very good at noticing things that are different. So if your dogs are used to adults, they might respond differently to children or babies or toddlers or someone that might have a walking stick, or different cultures if someone's wearing a turban. It just means that they've not seen it before and they're responding to it because it's novel. So watching and just taking the world in is huge. So I have a big tree out the front of my house, and I spent so much time out there just sitting with Sophie, and now she's comfortable to be tethered to that tree. So she's on a 5-meter long line on her harness, and she doesn't worry about it because I used it when I don't need it. So we should really practice things like your recall, your come to me when we don't need it. So when you do need it, you've got a higher chance. So at the age that, like especially with adolescent dogs, you don't want them to practice a behavior that we don't really want them to rehearse and be good at it. So running away from us because they saw a bird or a squirrel, they are going to get a rush of dopamine because it's so much fun to chase animals. But then it's like they're going to try and get that again. So rather than practicing it, that's when we use our management. So our management is keeping them safe with a long line, a long lead, a harness, hiring a sniff space, which is where people hire out their paddocks that you can rent and they can be off lead, finding enclosed spaces to hire. So not necessarily going to a dog park, and maybe when it's empty, but using that as a way to give them, space to run, or if you've got a basketball court or a tennis court that's enclosed, so they can have that freedom, but ultimately they're safe. So the more we expose them to our world and support them through it, they're going to take it in a lot more. It's not going to be as overwhelming or exciting. So if a dog can't return to you, they most likely can't hear you, because again, is the environment exciting? Is it overwhelming? Does something give them a fright? So you want to practice all of these training cues or behaviors starting at home. Practice your recall in your house. My dog's recall word is, I'm going to whisper in case she can hear me, but it's cheese and bubbles. That's her favorite thing in the world. So if I go out with her, I've always got like some bubbles in my back pocket, and I don't let her know I've got it until I need it. And I know that she will come back to anything for that. She's forgotten her name, but she'll always know what bubbles is. So practice all your training in an environment that you're going to set your dog up for success. So they'll love playing with you in the home. Try it out in the back garden. Then when you're doing observational work out the front, practice it a little bit there, but you're on a lead the whole time. So as they get older, you can start to give more freedom. But at the end of the day, I don't really think the dogs need to be more than 5 to 10 meters away from us for long periods of time. It's just dangerous. It's like with children, the dogs have a cognitive ability very similar to a 3-year-old human child. So there's only so much they can really learn about dangers, because a lot of the time impulsivity and exploration is going to take over. That's why you're getting these zoomies in the garden, like really close to like the edge of something.
Yeah, that's right.
Or running into something.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense, and it's super helpful too, because when he goes to the side yard, I can't see him, but it's time for him to come in. I use a different voice and I say, good boy, come, good boy, come.
Yeah.
And I say, good boy, come. He will usually come. Like he knows that that's a treat. He's got something to come back for. And that's the one thing I use when I can't see him and I need him to come back.
Yeah.
So all the little tricks. And to say this, like I've had dogs my whole life, but the puppy I had before this one was my son's golden retriever, Emma. And my parents picked her up, and then my son and I were in Texas for a couple of weeks. So when we surprised I think my son was 9 when we got her, 8 years old. When we surprised him, my dad had already trained her. Like there was nothing for me to have to do. It was, that's how good my dad was at it. So this is all new.
Yeah. But some dogs just get it. Some dogs, every dog's so different. And that's why like some dogs that feel safer being closer to you, you will never need to teach them recall because they don't want to be away. Whereas some dogs that, have that, like want to explore, or if some dogs panicky, it just depends on that dog, but if ever you call them and they don't come, even if you're really frustrated and scared or like worried that they might be hurt, and then you're relieved, never tell them off when they finally come, because then you'll be like, well, it's not great to come to me, so exactly. No matter what, it's always good to come back.
Okay. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll come back in just a second. Lauren, you've given us such good advice, given me good advice. Hopefully people who are listening can relate to it with their pups and dogs. And so how can people work from you? You're all the way in Australia, but I know that you do remote consultation. I know you have a membership. There's other ways. So in just this last couple of minutes, tell us how people can work with you if they need your help.
Okay, so I focus on behavior modification. So those dogs that might be called reactive or aggressive or anxious, those are the dogs that I really dedicate my time to. So I can work with you remote. I have a membership that's launching as well. That's going to be more affordable and accessible to have those behavior struggles supported. So whether you're a pet dog guardian or you're a dog trainer that is needing support as you navigate more challenging cases, look at it as more of a not only a mentorship, but also like a behavior guide. So not so much the life skills type training with the recalls, and that's very important. But a lot of this comes down to real, gosh, I'm trying to think on how to explain it now myself. Those real behavior struggles that might end up, surrendering a dog, or you've just adopted a dog and you're not sure how to help them. So we look at the health side of things. So collaborating with veterinary behaviorists. So those are the remote consults that I can do. And also in the membership as well. So Canine Conversations.
Yeah. I think that there's just so much, and I follow you on Instagram and I learn a lot just from what you post too. And whether it's you interacting with a dog or something you've written. So I highly suggest people get to know you there and see what it is you offer and how you navigate the trainings that you do. And yes, always putting the dog's safety and mental health at the forefront. And so I love the work you do. I really do. So I appreciate all the time that you've spent giving us this kind of crash course of how we do things. And I know that there are a lot of people thinking, not all dogs have needed significant training. I didn't grow up having any of our dogs trained, but there are people who are watching who might need that help. So it's good to have the help, and now for us to provide the information about how they can. Thank you for being here, Lauren. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And I'll definitely be reaching out some more.
Yeah.
Sign up for that membership. All right.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you.